Ready? Thanks for joining this talk. My name is Charles. I'm at the dYdX Foundation, but I'm here today to talk to you about the UAE and what's happening in the Middle East when it comes to crypto ecosystems overall. So maybe I'd like to start with a show of hands. Any one of you is living in the UAE or thinking of moving to Dubai or expanding in Dubai? Not yet, so I hope I'm going to give you a flavor of what's happening in the region and why essentially the UAE has morphed into one of the crypto capital of the world, and how I kind of studied this and documented this ecosystem so people can understand why you've got so many champions of crypto in that region. Even though it's very much in the news right now, we're going to try to abstract this for a bit. I'm going to touch on the war happening in Iran also at the end, but essentially, I wrote this book called Arabian Crypto. Sorry, it's going to come back. Here we go. About the crypto ecosystem. And this is my second book on crypto. My first book was about the crypto ecosystem in Hong Kong. I've been living in Hong Kong before Dubai for 20 years, and I've been trying to document and connect with the ecosystem overall over there and explain how those ecosystems are essentially growing and why it's important for you to understand this part of the crypto family in different corners of the world. So I will try to structure this conversation around the journey of the country, and then trying to categorize a little bit some of the pioneers I met and interviewed in the context of my book, hopefully helping you to kind of identify yourself with some of the journeys of these key crypto entrepreneurs which are living in the UAE, and thinking about the future of this set of states and emirates, and how they can be impactful for your protocol, your businesses around the crypto ecosystem. So my name is Charles. This is my second book on crypto. My first book was Block Kong, about the crypto ecosystem in Hong Kong. I interview many of the entrepreneurs you know, which have been starting or growing their business from Hong Kong. And my personal life brought me to the UAE, so I decided to kind of go with a second book documenting the journey of all those pioneers in crypto and understanding why are they in the UAE and what does it bring to them. I was with Consensus before working with dYdX. I also spent some time at the Hong Kong government as head of fintech. So I've got this kind of lenses of very much deep into the crypto industry from Consensus, but I also spent some time at governments, shaping cities, shaping ecosystems. So I'm with the dYdX Foundation, and I'm also an advisor to one of the Ethereum DAT, DAT, listed on NASDAQ, called Bit Digital. The history of the UAE is an history which goes very much centuries in the back. The country, and we're going to double click on the geography later on, started with the traditional trade being essentially a link between Asia and Europe when it comes to trading all kinds of commodities. One of the first business which really helped the region to kind of move away from these basic trades was the business of pearls. The pearls you use for necklaces. It was very much a very fast-growing industry. It was very much in fashion at the time. Around the 70s, early 70s, they discovered oil, and this was basically a very big event for the region. It kind of accelerates in an exponential way the growth of the city. They've been going through the same crisis as we all had, the global financial crisis, COVID, and now the Iran crisis. But you will discover over time, over this presentation, that these kind of new nations, new states, are extremely agile and don't have the same kind of legacy weight on their shoulders as some other part of the world. So if you're not familiar with the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, it's essentially a patchwork of 7 different, you can call states, but they're called emirates by the nature of their geography. The biggest one is Abu Dhabi. The second one, which is in the mind of many, is called Dubai. And then you've got some other states which are smaller and probably have different focus, or not so much in the front line of our crypto conversations. So Dubai is not a country. Dubai is a state within the UAE. Same for Abu Dhabi. In this talk, I'm going to probably double-click for the most part into Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and Ras Al Khaimah also, which are the main states of the main emirates within the UAE, focusing on crypto. So from this map, you can see that eventually the UAE is not only one country, but it's very much some kind of patchwork or a quilt of jurisdictions. And within those jurisdictions, essentially, it's not a monolithic country. It's every jurisdictions, like a little bit like every state in the US or some other part of the world, will have chosen different focus on how they essentially approach the world of digital asset and the technology of crypto. So you've got Dubai, which have created a few years ago a dedicated autonomous regulator for the crypto assets. That's very interesting to see how they approach. They're not basically trying to make crypto fitting in the existing regulatory frameworks they have already in place, but created a separated, independent regulator for this industry. Abu Dhabi has ADGM. ADGM stands for Abu Dhabi Global Market, and they've got a different approach over there where essentially crypto comes within the existing TradFi type of ecosystem, but with very novel and very ambitious and very fresh look at the industry. You've got Raquel Kema, which is more focusing on the DAO side and much more diverse in terms of different licenses they will be offering to companies. Should you be in gaming? Should you be a DAO? So they're very much agile in kind of welcoming and helping very exotic projects into how they can get some basic license and operations. And then you have dYdX, which is like a mini state within Dubai, kind of a free trade zone with its own regulation, own rule of law, and tax systems as well. And this dYdX type of jurisdictions within the UAE is more focusing on bridging TradFi and crypto. Within this book, Arabian Crypto, I published late last year. I did 15 interviews with 15 different entrepreneurs. Some of these faces might be familiar to you. Some others are maybe a little bit less known. It's a sample, so by definition, it's not covering everyone. But I can tell you, living in the UAE, that some of the global elite of crypto is deep-rooted into the UAE or living full-time there or operating partially there. And I've been trying to sample those pioneers and entrepreneurs in crypto in the UAE, covering the regulators, covering people building layer ones, building crypto applications, or maybe also building centralized exchanges. One first subset of talents I would like you to pay attention to in the UAE is essentially the government and regulators. So I did 3 interviews with Dr. Marwan, which is the founder and CEO of the Blockchain Center in Dubai. I also spent some time with VARA, the dedicated regulator in Dubai for the crypto industry, with DIPA. I spent time with ADGM, the regulator of Abu Dhabi, and also with a gentleman called Sakar, which has been very influential in shaping the early days of policies and strategies from all those regulators. The takeaway of these 4 interviews with kind of government-related players is that they are not trying to force crypto into the existing set of rules they have, but very much approaching it as an opportunity and dedicating some specific frameworks of regulations to make it really make it happen. And they're really trying to integrate this crypto opportunity within the nation overall. Another subset of pioneers are the builders. Some of them, Sandeep from Polygon is living in the UAE for multiple years. He brought a big part of his team in the UAE as well. Fisher Yu from Babylon Labs is also operating for the most part from Abu Dhabi. Alex Scott from the Solana ecosystem and the president of the Solana Foundation are now living in the UAE as well. And when you've got this top executive moving into one region, there is this kind of flywheel in terms of talent. They tend to bring in the same country, some of their core team members, and also bringing part of their ecosystem. You've got some OGs such as Urbit, as one of the former executive director of Urbit. Some of you might remember this project is also living in the UAE. On the risk-taking side, the team of Symbiotic is for the most part also based in the UAE. So talents are moving over there. I often qualify the UAE as a mini America. where it's, and what I mean by that is the UAE is a very young country, 54 years old, but it's a country made of, for the most part, immigrants. So what I mean by a mini America is everyone is moving to the UAE with their own ambitions, with their own dreams, and this creates a very specific type of energy. It creates a very specific energy around the city and around the people you get surrounded for. So a lot of talents coming in one place, and this is a recipe which has been applied by the US in New York or California, Hong Kong for a part of its history as well. So this is a way for you to feel how you can be surrounded by builders and by innovators. It's by going and spending time within those hubs. Another subset of the industry and another subset of pioneers are essentially the exchanges and the wallets within this book, which is available for you to read and study. I spent time with Talal from CoinMena, who sold his crypto exchange to Paribu, one of the leading exchange in Turkey. I spent some time with Owen Chain, which is the CEO of Trust Wallet, part of the Binance ecosystem. Also a great interview with Luc from dYdX. dYdX is operating from the UAE with a license from Vara. They sold their business of crypto derivatives to Coinbase for 2.9 million. So there are also some unicorns and some really great entrepreneurs and real businesses happening there. What I want as a takeaway for you to really capture and take back with you is that the UAE is not only like a tax kind of arbitrage. It's very much a place where people are also having great successes. We talked as well together with Rachel Conlan from the Binance marketing team. She's global head of Binance for marketing. And Binance, obviously, today has a license in ADGM, a global license, and their core team in the core business of the world's largest crypto exchange is actually in the UAE, and every decision is made from there. So that's another point I want to really bring to you, is that some of the very big makers are actually living there, and that's create a very unique ecosystem. On the institutional side and service providers, it also brings and grow organically a very interesting ecosystem. Henri Arslanian, Jess from Nomura and Laser Digital Bank, Navin Gupta from the analytics side of things, some lawyers, obviously, some people from the Cosmos ecosystem, such as CryptoCito, and some talent scouts or headhunters are also living there, and they are contributing to essentially keeping this ecosystem growing the right way and growing stronger. 5 key learnings from the book are definitely around the regulatory innovation. The unfair advantage the UAE have is really that they're building with a very young legal kind of framework around them. They don't have all the legacy the US, Europe, or certain part of Asia will have. And this allows them to really build up-to-date and meaningful set of regulations for this new industry that is crypto, and not retrofitting some existing regulations. We find also that the ecosystems within the UAE are kind of specializing themselves. If you go to Abu Dhabi, you will find much more hedge funds and very large institutionals involved in crypto. When you go to Dubai, it's much more around the exchange and maybe medium-sized type of investors and trading platforms. And Iraq will be a little bit more exotic type of crypto-related activities. It's very cosmopolitan, as I mentioned earlier. The UAE is rich of 90% of its population being immigrants, should they come from Asia, from Europe, or other parts of the world. So this creates this unique mix, which you will find in successful international hubs. The geography of the UAE is also an unfair advantage. It's sitting very elegantly between Asia, Europe. You can, when you work from Dubai, you can essentially work with the world without stretching your day so much, spending time with Asian players in the morning, taking care of European partners and colleagues during your day. And when come 4 p.m., New York is already waking up, and you can do what you have to do with your New York counterpart. So the geography is also very important for the success of the UAE overall. And then there is also this idea that the UAE Dubai, Abu Dhabi are kind of far west, so to say, or far east when it comes to regulation, but this is really not true. People getting licenses in the UAE are making the effort. The licenses are quite demanding, and they are picky before giving away the kind of green light for business operating there. So it's not easy. It's not easier to get licenses over there, but you've got better licenses which will fit with your type of activities. There are nevertheless some challenges for the UAE, for Dubai, for Abu Dhabi. The fragmentation you observe in terms of geography and the kind of patchwork of different emirates is a challenge. Whenever you come and approach the UAE for your business, you want to think which state or which emirates within the UAE will be best fitted for what you want to achieve. Should you be institutional, more tech-oriented, or more kind of retail? So there is a little bit of complexity over there, nothing overwhelming, but it exists. The ecosystem is also nascent, even though it's growing very strongly. It's still a young ecosystem, so you will not find every part of everything you need, but it's kind of in a small geography, so it kind of mitigates this young aspect of the ecosystem. TradFi access banking is not easier than it is for European or American. As a crypto company, you always want to make sure you think deeply about your banking applications to make sure you get like the right setup. And the compliance cost, because the UAE is a compliant type of jurisdictions, exist and can be sometimes a challenge for projects which have not calibrated or prepared for it the right way. There is in the regions of the UAE and GCC a conflict right now, the Iran conflict, as you know. So it brings a little bit of anxiety. Probably people are rethinking at this moment in time, should I go or not in that region? But what I can tell you for a fact that it's over the past decades, the UAE has recovered very quickly from any challenges coming their way. Should it be the global financial crisis? If you think of COVID, COVID essentially was a demonstration that countries like the UAE are able to reopen very quickly. In March 2020, essentially the global aviation networks just shut down for all of us. But a few months later, in July, the UAE was the first country to fully reopen and essentially show strength and dynamism over there. So if you think of the number of migrants also happening during these complicated years of post-COVID and recovery from COVID, the UAE has gained 2 million additional citizens between 2021 and 2025. So it shows you that if you have an attraction at this moment in time for Dubai, Abu Dhabi, or the regions, you're not the only one, and many people are essentially going to this new and exciting part of the world. So don't think the UAE are kind of done. The conflict in Iran will eventually kind of cool down, and the history shows that in the past, these young nations, the same way the new technologies or the new value propositions such as crypto really enable part of the world to rebuild and having a bright future. So I am very happy to talk to you later on after this presentation to kind of share with you more about the kind of insight I have from living here in the UAE. And I'm sure that even though you might not be in Dubai or Abu Dhabi next month, I'm sure you will be traveling again and visiting this very inspiring new country in the coming quarters. So thank you very much for your time today. If you want to know more about the UAE and the book, head to arabiancrypto.xyz. Thank you.